Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Being Mary Jane Season 4, Episode 11, which was titled Feeling Raw. It's their first episode back since the mid-season finale, and the writers may have heard our concerns about the show because this first episode, it came back with a bang, and it is giving me hope that they're going to get back on track and the writers are going to give us some of the Mary Jane that we're used to. So I may need to go back and watch episode 10 again because I thought there was tension between Mary Jane and Lee when the season broke away for the mid-season break. But here we are with the opening scene and the two of them are sexing it on the floor. And I also didn't remember Mary Jane getting an apartment. I thought she was still in the hotel. But anyway, she's found an apartment. Her and Lee are on the floor screwing, but she has this brand new bed. And a designer or decorator or somebody had given her all of these bedding selections, so she has those spread all over the bed, and she's telling Lee that they can't get in the bed because she needs to make a decision on which design she's going to go with, a color scheme that she's going to go with. So in a later scene, Lee wants to give the new bed a try, so he plops down on the bed and bouncing around and telling her to come on, get in the bed, and Mary Jane freaked out. Like, if you don't get your butt out of my bed and get out of my bed right now. And I was like, dang girl, what is wrong with you? So he's looking at her like she's crazy, and then she breaks down and admits that she slept with Justin. But it was really confusing because when Lee was like, you slept with him, she was like, did I say that out loud? Like, she thought she was being brave and saying it to him in his head, in her head, but she had actually said it for real. So Lee figures out that she's been saving the bed for Justin, so she wants Justin to break that bed in with her. And so the two have a heated argument, you know, where Lee tells Mary Jane that she has issues and that he is glad that they didn't have a child together because she would make a terrible mother. And I think, isn't that just like a real punk move? You know, people always in the heat of arguments want to bring up that one thing that they know is your deepest wound and just drive a knife back into it, you know, so that they can leave their mark like all the other people before you. Like, we know Mary Jane is bruised and damaged, so why are you going to damage her even further? So Mary Jane may need to come to terms with the fact that she may not be relationship material and that she may never get married. So after Lee storms out, she calls her mom to talk, and Gabrielle, Mama Patterson, I'm sorry, starts going on and on about her trip to Hattiesburg and how she thinks that the family's old home would be a perfect place for her, for Mary Jane and Lee to get married. And so Mary Jane cuts her off and she goes into this long dialogue about how she cheated on Lee for Justin, and she thinks she's made a big mistake and ruined everything, and that she has no one to talk to because Cara is going to kill her, you know, once she finds out that she's messed things up with Lee, because Cara really liked Lee. And so I was like, who calls their mother and tells their mother that much information right off the bat? Like, normally when my daughters call me with foolishness, they have to work their way into it. Like, they'll tell me a little bit and they'll force me to keep asking them questions so that they can go ahead and reveal whatever it is that they did, and they're afraid to tell me. And then when I react to it, they're like, well, if you wanted to know, if you didn't keep asking questions, you know, I wouldn't have told you. And so I know how that game goes, but that's not how it was working with Mary Jane and her mom. But then we realized that Mary Jane had pushed the mute button. So all that she was saying, her mother didn't hear it. And so then when she takes the mom off of mute, and then she's like, it's really complicated and I'm not ready to tell you. I thought I was, but I can't go into it right now. So I was like, whoo, girl, because I was thinking like, Miss Patterson ain't changed that much that you could be telling her that kind of craziness. So Mary Jane doesn't seem to be faring well in Rhonda's seat. It's been 2 months since she became the lead anchor on Good Day what's the name of the show? Good Day USA. So the ratings are tanking, and they're trying to figure out like what they're going to do. So Mary Jane and Aaron were on air, and they're talking and joking around about some band that was coming to town and something else that was going on. And so they seem to have good camaraderie going on. And then Aaron asked her, so what other things have you seen come across this desk? Now y'all remember Justin knocked her bike out on that same desk, so she started thinking about her and Justin having sex on the desk, and then Justin was in the producer's room and in the control room with Garrett. And so normally when the anchors are stalling or they need help, the producer is like on the microphone and telling them what to say or what they do. But Justin was just as mesmerized as Mary Jane was, so they all both sitting there thinking about that night on that desk. And so Garrett looking at him like, Justin, you gonna tell them what to do? And so he's like, oh, I'm sorry. So then he goes, Mary Jane, but Mary Jane was so far gone. And then all of a sudden she like brought herself back together, like, oh yeah, started laughing. I was like, Lord have mercy. So Garrett and Aaron come in to discuss the ratings with Mary Jane and Justin, and so they try to come up with ways to get the viewers back, because I think they said they were down by like 20% or something. So Garrett decides to bring Rhonda onto the show to have like a up close and personal interview about her departure and what happened to cause her to leave the show, because I think Rhonda has a talk show that's coming up and people are saying she's going to be the next Oprah Winfrey. So they're like, yeah, let's bring her back on and get the ratings back up. But Mary Jane is livid, and she's asking Garrett, is this Good Day USA like a news, a revered news station, or are we like just some reality TV show? But Garrett is like, child, please, all I'm concerned about is ratings, and the people upstairs are calling me, asking me what's going on, so I gotta fix this mess and get people to watching this show. So after her breakup with Lee, Mary Jane wants to take things to the next level with Justin, be a couple and let everybody know, that they're dating each other. And now I'm a bit confused, because 2 months have passed, but it doesn't appear that Justin and Mary Jane have hooked up since then or gone out together or anything. So why is she acting like she's all whipped and making this rash decision is beyond me. But Mary Jane and Justin meet for drinks, and he's already ordered a near perfect Manhattan. And so I thought that was significant to the rest of the show. Some kind of symbolism going on. And so Justin, being the snake that he is, lets her know that he thinks it would be best if he starts producing for Aaron and not for Mary Jane. And I'm like, you are such a sleazebag, Justin, because you got Mary Jane into the position that now that the ratings are tanking, you want to jump ship and abandon her and go, over to Aaron. But then Cara is gone, so Mary Jane don't even have her as an executive producer. So like, you just being so low down. But Mary Jane, she sees it for what it is. So when Mary Jane says that she wants to pursue what they have and lets him know that she broke up with Lee, Justin lets her know that what they had was just a fling and that he has a girlfriend. I'm just like, did we not know that this was not going to bode well? But Mary Jane, this is typical behavior for you. So Mary Jane goes home and she's like, still don't have this bed made up, the plastic still on the mattress, and she falls on the bed and she's kicking and having this temper tantrum, and all I could think was, girl, be honest, because we have all thrown that same temper tantrum. And I'm like, poor baby that cried herself to sleep on that plastic and makeup still on, and she just looking like, God dang. And then the phone alarm goes off and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and time for her to go back to work. And I'm just like, oh my God. But Mary Jane got up out that bed, got herself ready for work, and then she wrote on the mirror in lipstick, game on. But I like when Mary Jane was writing on them little sticky notes. I don't like the whole writing on the mirror thing, because usually when you see people writing on mirrors, they turn out to be mass murderers in like these scary movies. So that's one thing, one change they made about the show that I really don't care for. Mary Jane goes into the office, you know, with her conniving spirit intact, and she runs into Garrett and Justin, and then she just starts willing off these ideas like, we need new producers, and I think the new girl Emma should interview Rhonda instead of Aaron. And so Garrett, you know, he has no loyalties to anybody, you know, but the people that signed his paycheck. So he thinks it's a great idea and like, yeah, you know, let's do that. So of course Justin isn't happy, you know, but Mary Jane is a woman scorned, so he's gonna have to deal with it. So he follows her into her office and closed the door, but Mary Jane, you know, she's being all calm, cool, and collected, and says that she agrees with everything that he said the night before, and points out that, you know, he's the only one that he's concerned about. He doesn't really care anything about her, so now she's gonna be, you know, looking out for her own self. And by the way, now that we aren't going to be together, I don't give a rat's ass what you think about what I do. And I'm like, okay. So in a strategy meeting, they have brought in image consultants to help Mary Jane, and they want to like update her look and find charities that she can you know, support and, you know, get back in the public eye and make them like her. So there was a I don't know if she was an intern or a junior consultant on the team, but she said something about the Real Housewives. So Mary Jane was like, okay, who said that? So she's sitting in the chair and the other ladies are like standing up, blocking her. So she scoots around them and, you know, gets up to the table. And so she's telling Mary Jane about the Real Housewives effect and how, you know, you have to be relatable to the people that's actually sitting at home, you know, watching TV, and you have to ask yourself, like, would I want to go have lunch with this person? Would I want to have dinner with this person? Would I want to invite this person to my house? So they decide, earlier in the show, there was a black guy on the set who was being interviewed about a movie that he was directing. So he had expressed interest in Mary Jane, so they decided they're going to hook Mary Jane up with this guy and then kind of leak it to social media so people will be interested in that. And I'm just like, this is so crazy that these people have to go through this stuff. So Mary Jane was kind of doubtful about the whole scheme, but then Justin gonna sit there and say, oh, you know what, I think it's a great idea because it'll humanize you. So I'm like, oh boy, you already in trouble. I don't think you want to be making jabs like that. So they decide to hook Mary Jane up with the movie director, and, you know, it will fit right into her plans, you know, to piss Justin off even more. Then later on that night, Mary Jane and the director go on a date, and they seem to hit it off, and he thought that Mary Jane, you know, was kind of tutti frutti, but, you know, she lets him know that she comes from humble beginnings just like he did. And so then he tells her that he was surprised that she came on the date with him because Justin had told him that Mary Jane was seeing somebody in a relationship. So Mary Jane, you know, she was like, this Negro, like, is he serious right now? So that just made it more interesting, you know, for her, you know, to be trying to get back at Justin. So the following day, Cara shows up, you know, for her arbitration hearing wearing an expensive designer dress that Orlando purchased for her, hoping that it would boost her confidence. And at the same time, Rhonda arrives for her interview. So nothing has changed. You know, Rhonda still has her moles in the office, you know, and they keeping her up to date on what's going on. So then she decides to throw her little digs at Mary Jane about the whole rebranding thing. And I guess she's familiar with the consultants because she's like, oh, what they're going to do, you know, they're going to change your look. They're going to throw some charities at you. They're going to find somebody, you know, another celebrity for you to date, you know, to get you out there in front of the people. So then Cara steps up to Rhonda and says, you got lines or something, she said to your face, you need to go see makeup before you go on the air, you know. But Rhonda's like, you know, I'm not bothered by you, you know, so she keeps trying to throw jabs at Mary Jane. But Cara's like, I think it's time for you to go to makeup. So So before leaving, Rhonda, throws in one last dig, pointing out that they need to rebrand Mary Jane, but she's sure that Justin don't need anything, and that he isn't even considered part of the equation as to why the ratings have dipped so low. So in the interview, Rhonda gives little credence to what happened, at Great Day, and turns the interview around into a promo about her new show. So Garrett doesn't care because, he's looking at the Twitter page and it's blowing up, but Justin's like, dude, are you serious? Like, this is not a good look, but you can't tell Garrett nothing. Since he couldn't get Garrett to listen, Justin wants to go and talk about it to Mary Jane, but Aaliyah, who's the junior consultant, she comes up to let Mary Jane know that they're having a meeting at her office. So they start talking about, her date with the director, and Mary Jane makes sure that Justin hears her as she starts talking about how they hit it off so well, and she's invited him over to her house, and that, she's cooking dinner for him, and, she's really happy about the idea for them to date. So Justin, he already got them green eyes, but he was definitely the green-eyed monster. So Cara still has Mary Jane's back, even though they fired her, and so she's watching the show, and Mary Jane, when she was freezing, thinking about her and Justin having sex on that day, so then on that desk. So Orlando is like, that's not your problem anymore. You need to focus, on the arbitration and everything. And so Cara is scared that if she loses the arbitration hearing, that they're going to blackball her in the industry. So the following day, Cara wakes up and finds Orlando and his crew in her apartment and playing video games and drinking beer. And I think she said it was like 8:30 in the morning. So she's asking him, like, what in the world is going on? So it turns out that Orlando is being boycotted by the players' wives and girlfriends because I think Cara insulted one of them and told them they were stupid or beneath her or something. And so the team was having a breakfast that day and he wasn't invited, so now Cara feels bad and wants to make things right. And then I'm thinking, why is Orlando and his homies always at Cara's place anyway, when I'm sure he has a bachelor pad of his own, or have the two of them moved in together and they failed to mention it, or I missed that part. But anyway, her and Mary Jane are hanging out together, and Cara's still giving her career advice, and Mary Jane needs to figure out how to get Cara back in that newsroom as her producer. And I don't know how she's going to work it out. She's going to have to work her magic on Justin or somebody, but Cara needs to get her job back. So Cara, has to cut their little afternoon short, because she has to go to the ball game, and she's come up with this plan that she's going to go and be nice to these girls and make them welcome her and like her and want her to be in the circle. So she tells Mary Jane that, maybe she can get Lee to go with her, but Mary Jane hasn't told her that her and Lee broke up, because then she'd have to tell her about Mr. Justin, and she's not ready for that whole scene, because she know Cara gonna get up in her butt about that. So Cara goes to the baseball game, and she is so out of place, and these girls are like acting like she's not even there. So she's sitting at the bar drinking tequila, and they out on the terrace taking pictures. So then she decides that she is going to be friendly and nice and go over and, say, hey, let me take the picture for you, and use her little expertise, in the newsroom to help them get the best selfies. So then they tell her, oh, this is great. We're going to make you our official selfie taker. So Cara is like, this is not what my life is going to be about. So she does eventually connect with this one lady named Lauren Wellington, who dates one of the other players. So she ends up inviting Cara to go shopping, claiming that she wants to know who Cara is and how she stole Orlando's heart. But I'm thinking, that lady really didn't fit into that whole little group of women that was there. So I'm wondering what her whole angle is going to be with the show. Like, is she an attorney, or is she going to be somebody that can help Cara get her job back, or what? So, Cara had the arbitration hearing that I talked about earlier when they ran into Rhonda, and it didn't go well. And so the station lawyers, they were focused on her expensive clothes, the outfit that Orlando had bought her to go to the hearing, and the fact that she's dating this Major League Baseball player. So her strategy was that, she was going to argue that she was a struggling single mom and she needed this money, this payout, from them firing her, but all they saw was that, she must be doing okay financially and they wasn't giving her a dime. Then we move over to Mama Patterson, and so she done called Lee and asked Lee what happened between him and Mary Jane, and being the punk that he is, he broke down and told her, that she had slept with Justin and she was unfaithful. And so I was like, who would tell somebody that their daughter is a liar and a cheater unless he's a punk? And then Lee, that was just some real bitch assness right there. And we already didn't like you, but we sure enough don't like you now. And so Daddy Patterson was looking at his wife like, are you crazy? Like, you called that boy and asked him about their business, but Mama Patterson, she was like, she was concerned and she needed to know what was going on. So now we find out that there was some cheating going on between Mama and Daddy Patterson. So Mama Patterson wants to know if he thinks that maybe Mary Jane knew what was going on between them, but he says Mary Jane was too young. And then she was like, no, I think she may have known about it, and the reason she's the way that she is because of that part of their life and that they damaged her, so they need to bring her home. So they can talk this thing over with him. But Daddy Patterson was like, no, we're not doing no such thing. And then he tells her that, she needs to get it out of her heart that Mary Jane is going to get married at their house in Hattiesburg, and they need to go ahead and put it on the market and sell it. So what is the deal with the house in Hattiesburg? Like, have we seen the house in Hattiesburg, or will we get to see the house? Like, what is so special about this house? Is that where they got married at, and then maybe her parents got married at the house? It's going to be interesting to see what that whole storyline is about. So the show ends with Mary Jane, preparing for her dinner date with the director. Remember, she had invited him over and she was going to cook for him. So is it me, but does Mary Jane have like 100 red dresses? Because I swear in every scene in this show, she had on a red dress, but it was like, and I think 2 of them were off the shoulder, and then the other one was kind of going this way, but she just wore a lot of red, so I don't know if there was something significant or symbolic about the red. Is they trying to call that girl a hoe, or what's going on? But anywho, the doorbell rings and she thinks it's the guy, and she's like, oh my God, he is so early. But she opens that door and it is Justin looking 3 ways of crazy and deranged, talking about he no longer has a girlfriend, and the thought of Mary Jane being with another man is driving him crazy. And then Mary Jane, tried to stand her ground for about 5 seconds to get him to leave, but he went over there and closed that door and went to kissing and slobbing on her. And I'm just sitting there saying, every role that Michael Ealy plays, he is like the psychotic, stalker, crazy boyfriend. And that's the only way I can see him. And the way he was acting in this episode, I think that's what he's going to turn into on this show. And Mary Jane going to have to kill him by the end of the season. I don't know. But anyway, they was in the bed and they was bumping and grinding, and she was sweating and he was licking the sweat all off her chest. And I'm just like, oh my God, y'all just go and get with it. It was just dangerous looking to me. And she was saying, nothing good can come with this mix of oil and water. And I'm like, girl, because you got a whole lot of oil on your body, and that water is tasting really good to Mr. Justin. But I was also thinking that nobody of all the guys that she done been with, nobody has laid it down the way our boy Omari Hardwick laid it down in season 1. Because I mean, those sex scenes between him and Mary Jane was off the chain, but I don't really feel the chemistry between her and Michael Ealy at all. Like his act, like he's a very good looking man, and I was kind of excited about the whole thing, but after the night, he was looking all crazy, and I'm thinking like, we got to watch out and pray for our girl Mary Jane, because she about to get caught up in some nonsense. So I guess Lee was right. You know, she was saving that bed for Justin, because when he drug her into that room, she had that bed all made up and color coordinated and everything. And he done snatched them sheets off, and they done broke that bed in. So Lee, that bed ain't gonna be no more good, even if she do try to take you back. So Mary Jane reminds Justin, you know, that he was right when he said that common wisdom says that, you know, them being together is a huge mistake. But Justin tells her that the answer is for them not to be common. So when homeboy arrives for dinner and starts ringing that doorbell, they had finished what they was doing, but when that doorbell started ringing, Justin was ready for round 2, and he got back on top of her and started kissing and bumping and grinding. So homeboy probably stood at that door like, I know the helper told me to be here at 8 o'clock. Now I'm not understanding what's going on, but it was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one, and I just think that the rest of the season is going to be pretty good if it follows this first episode. So that's it from me, guys. Leave your comments below, rate the video below, subscribe to the channel below, click that little red button, and until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.